Alright, let's get started with our next video. What we're going to do now is we've created our form, and the first button I'm going to program will be the Update Sheet button. So we're going to take the Update button, and when we click on the Update button, it's actually going to change the property for this character sheet in the list where the character sheets are being held. Alright, so we're going to open up the Update button. And this is actually going to be, it's going to have a couple simple and one a little bit complex things. So in the update button, we're going to, first thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to get the value that the user has inputted. All right? And there's a couple ways to do this, but I'm just going to write everything out the long way. So I'm going to take the update, the update name text box dot text, and I'm going to work with this variable. So I'm going to take this text, and we can see when we look at it, when we hover over it, we can see it's going to create a string for us. So I need to create a string variable, and I'm going to call this the update name. So the update name is going to come from the update text box, and in fact we're going to do the same thing for the race. So this is not update name text box, but update race. And this kind of shows you the convenience of having a good name. Now this is not a string, it's an integer. And it's the update level. And the strings work nice, but once we come to a level, well, that becomes complicated. Because here we have text, which is a string, trying to be converted to an integer. And we saw a squiggly line like this, and we fixed it by saying toString. But what we really want is a toInteger. And we do not have that. Well, we can change it to array and to all sorts of other things, but toInteger is not in here. And you might think all hope is lost, but there is a way to try and fix this. But it also will lead to some problems. So this, getting the update level is tricky. It's a little bit difficult, and I'm gonna show you the idea, and then we're gonna fix it a little bit. So what we have is there's a function in C# called convert, and you can convert it to an integer. But we have three choices: integer 16, 32, and 64. And we have to ask ourselves, is this update level, which integer is it? Now, when I click on int, I can see it highlights and it says integer 32. Oops, I'm going to highlight one more time. So it says integer int 32. So that means we want to convert to int 32. Oops, let's get our auto completion. To int 32. And this is a function, so I'm going to put this in parentheses. And it's going to take the string from the text box and convert it to an integer. And then it's going to display the current, oh wait, we haven't updated anything yet. So we're using three variables to get our information. So we've gotten the information from the user. So maybe part 1. So part 1, get info from user. Then part 2 will be put info into player sheet. And then part 3 will be display. So we've done part 1, and in fact, we already did part 3, which will be display the new player sheet. Or I will say the newly updated. So now all we have to do is we have to put these values into the player sheet. Okay, so I'm going to just say, let's see, player list, whatever our current sheet number is. And then we're going to say that the name is equal to the update name. Oops, not right. So the current sheet name. So the player list current sheet race is going to equal to the update race. And then the player, you can see I'm really doing the same thing over and over again. You can copy and paste if you want, but we have the current sheet dot level. All right, so you can see here we're able to quickly update. And once we've updated everything on the current sheet, we should be able to display. And this is, except for a couple issues about the convert, this should work. So let's run the program and test. So we're going to build and run. Now I'm going to put a new name in here, Bill, who is an elf, and he's going to be level 1. And when I hit update, it should update the information here. The other thing I might want to do is I might want to remove or clear the form. Okay, so I'm going to create a quick clear form method to clear out the form. But there's one other concern I want to show you, which will come up in just a minute. So we're not all done. So down here at the bottom we have the display sheet. Let's do, actually this can be a private method. We haven't talked much about public and private, it doesn't matter, but it can be private. And this will just be clear form. And all this is going to do is it's just going to say update name text box dot text is just going to equal an empty string, and then it's going to say that the update race text box dot text is equal to an empty string. And an empty string is just a string that has nothing in it. And then update level text box dot text is equal to an empty string. And we don't even have to worry about the level being an integer because the text box is displaying a string anyway. And then we'll call this method in the clear form. In fact, we could just call this method whenever we display the current character sheet. Every time we display it, we probably want to clear the form anyway. So if we just put it in there, I think it will work. So I'm going to do Tom, who is a human, and level 2. When we update the sheet, everything is updated here, and the form is cleared. What if we only want to change the name? What if I only want to change the name? I don't want Tom, I want Bill, but I want everything else to stay the same. I want to be able to hit this button and have everything work. The problem is when I hit that button, we get an error, and the error comes from this integer. When we tried to convert from text to an integer, we got a bad answer. And that's kind of a difficult problem to work around, and it can take a lot of advanced computer programming. So I'm going to just show you a very quick technique to make sure we have a fewer errors. So this is going to use some logic. So I'm going to create the update level, and then I'm going to say, well, if if update level text box dot text dot equals. So if that text equals, and now we got to put a string in here. If it's equal to an empty string, then it's bad. So we want it to not be empty. So I'm going to make sure that this update level text box, I'm going to make sure that the text which is in it is not, and this asterisk or this exclamation point at the beginning means not. So I'm basically saying not equals. And I don't think there's a text. Yeah, they don't have a not equal, so I have to use equals this. I really wish I could just say not equals or something, but we can't do that. So because I can't put the not here, I can't do this not, so instead I put the not here at the beginning. So if the update text box is not equal to the empty string, then I'm going to say that the update level equals, Then I'm going to do the conversion. 2 and 32. I'll just copy and paste from the above. And I want to have an else just in case. So if it is, otherwise I'm just going to say that the update level equals whatever the current level is. So I'm going to say player list current sheet. So whatever the level is for the current sheet, it's excuse me. I'm just going to keep it the same. We do have an error here. So what is the error? Oh, we're trying to convert. Oh, you know what? This should not be the update text level box.text. This should be my variable update level. My apologies. Sorry, I have to take a drink. My throat is getting dry from making all these videos. So we've now created the update level variable. And what should happen now is if we do not enter any text for the level, it will stay the same. So let's see if that's working the way we want. We have Eric. I want to change the name Eric to Jae-hyun. All right. And I want to train human, but the level will stay the same. So if I hit update sheet, you can see that the level stayed the same and the other properties changed. But what if I go to Frederick and leave the other two blank? Well, the race disappears. So maybe if we don't do any changes, then we want, if we don't do any changes, we'll just keep things the same. Okay? So we can do that with a quick, by adding a little bit of logic to the race and the name as well. So we define our race here. We're going to use our semicolon to end the line. And I'm just going to say if, same thing really, if the update, this time it's going to be race textbox.text.equals. So if that is equal to the empty string, well then update race, is going to equal to player list current sheet dot race. So I'm just going to kind of simplify this, and so if that is true, otherwise we'll make the else sheet here. And to quickly type it, I just do else, double tab, and it makes everything. All right, so this time I did not use the parentheses. Instead, I said, well, if it is empty, we're just going to use the current value. Otherwise, we're going to do the other one. And I'm going to do the same down here because I don't like the not. So I'm just going to change the order. So, sorry, my phone is updating some stuff right now to the new iOS 8. So while that's happening, I'm just going to say, so if the update level text box is an empty string, we're going to keep the level the same. Otherwise, we're going to convert it. And know that, even with the correction for an empty string, we will still have a problem if someone puts in something that is not a number. So, and there's a lot of things we can kind of play with which are pretty easy. So I'm putting some comments here. Like I said, this is a really tricky thing for the level. But the race is good. I'm going to update the name in pretty much the same way. we'll just kind of ignore this bit. Alright. Now just do my if update name text box dot name So if this is true, we're going to say that the update name is equal to player list current sheet dot name. Else, we're going to say that the update name is equal to the update name text box dot text. All right, so it's a lot of typing, but this way we'll ensure that when we're running our program, if I change the name to Bill and I hit update sheet, only Bill is changed. Or if I change the race to fish, that will be changed. And then if I type if I type the number 4, it'll update. If I don't type anything, we don't get an error. But we still will have a problem if I put the letter H. H looks like an upside down 4, but we still get an error. And that's kind of hard to fix. So I wouldn't worry about it on this first program because it is something that has a solution, but it is quite a bit of work for that solution. So we're just going to ignore it for now. So at this point, I think we have a pretty reasonable routine to update everything. And we can see for this method, I don't have line numbering. But we can see for this method, it begins on line number 34, and it goes on for quite a while, all the way down to line number 84. So that's quite a few lines. So we're going to stop here for this particular method. In fact, I am just going to minimize it. And we have our update button, and we're going to change this, or we're not going to change it. In my next video, we're going to now look at how we can add a new sheet to the list. And once we do that, we're really going to be rolling along. All right, so I am going to stop here, and thank you for watching this video.